For the first time in 19 years, we find ourselves right back here at Nazareth Speedway. The 17th round of the 2023 AT&T Champ Car World Series season runs through Nazareth Speedway. Welcome to ABN Sports coverage of the IndyCar World Championship and the AT&T Champ Car World Series. We're live from this small triangle track in southern Pennsylvania. 33 cars to celebrate a special event that's been almost 2 decades in the making. We're glad we're here. We're glad you're with us as we get ready for racing here in Nazareth. Wyatt Jones, as you can see at the front of the field, pole position for Wyatt Jones, a 178 mile per hour lap, put him on pole position. Wyatt Jones ran a 19.345 here at Nazareth yesterday in qualifying to get him on the front of the field. Just barely ahead of Thomas Rogers. Rogers will share the front row with him to kick off the festivities here in Nazareth, row 2. Sakura Ishibashi alongside the returning Stephanie Porter-Kelly. Stephanie Porter-Kelly announced that she would be running the last 4 races of the 2023 season. Many argue that she's the GOAT. She's got a lot of records in her name. She is back in Champ Car competition. She starts in row 2, starting in 4th. Ahead of Kimi Kenosha, the defending IndyCar World Champion. Kenosha shares row 3 alongside Alicia Kovalkiewicz. Then it's Artyom Kozlov and Evangeline Porter in row 4. The top 10's rounded up by Natalia Kurachenko and Natalia Vulisovich. It's the Natalia and Natalia show in row 5 to get things going here. Then it's Nicole Lechty, points leader, qualifying outside the top 10 here at Nazareth, alongside Elise Alexander, BK Glover, and Matthias Michelin in row number 7. Samantha LaRoe and Kira Moore, the Frostfire Racing rookie, sitting in row number 8. Row 9, Catherine Hart, making her 3rd appearance this season. She sits in row number 9 alongside another rookie that has gathered a lot of attention in Mia Vitsut. Row 10, Bianca Lucero and Astra Crane. That's your top 20 in the starting grid. Looking further down again, 33 cars in expanded field for tonight's race here in Nazareth. Row 11, Shinichi Kamaya and Keisha Fox. Asada Kito and Esther Hofson make up row number 12. Katrina Ochoa and Marcus Petrovich make up row 13. Cameron Jackson down in row 14 alongside Yuya Ishii. Rex Riley in row 15 alongside Juliet Takani. And then you start seeing the drivers that had some troubles in qualifying yesterday. Von Sonnen, the last driver to set a lap time. Now Takarasi had a spin in qualifying that invalidated her run. And Andrew Draco, his qualifying ended early with a crash in qualifying. They were able to rebuild that car, but he was struggling throughout the weekend. We'll see how he recovers going into this event. The championship hunt has dramatically shrunk after the events last week at Watkins Glen. Nicole Lechty leads the points by a mere 4 points over Sakura Ishibashi. Kenosha, who was the leader of the points going into Watkins Glen last week, now 14 points behind in 3rd. Rogers closed the gap up a little bit as well. He is 33 points behind. Vulisovich also within a race at 41 points behind Lechty. Keep an eye on all of that top 5 because that is going to be very fluctuating throughout these final 4 races. Artyom Kozlov with a little bit more work to do, 81 points behind in 6th. And then Alicia Kovalkiewicz, her retirement for an engine failure, really kind of throwing her into the must-win situation here. 113 points behind the points leader with 4 races to go. Again, your objective to get to Fontana is to get at least within 50 points of the championship leader to give yourself a chance of going for the championship there. Obviously, the top 5 are in that range right now. Let's see how things change throughout the race tonight. But business is picking up. These are the championship rounds. This is where the money is made. This is where the champions are crowned. And everyone's got their eyes on that fight. Wyatt Jones will lead the field to green, whereas in a track side for the command of those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And just like that, it is showtime in Nazareth. This racetrack rebuilt from the ground up by Dreamcatcher Promotions. Flat oval, very demanding oval, probably the most demanding on the calendar. A lot of drivers have said that this is more demanding than any track they have been to so far. The constant speeds, but the constant G-forces, a huge ordeal here at Nazareth Speedway. You see how scenic most of Nazareth is. You see some of the development that happened around this track during its closure. But everything's still in force for today's event. It's a grand return unlike any other. 55,000, a sellout crowd here in Nazareth. Rebuilt from the ground up across a 6-year project. Christened by the late Christina Espinoza. We go racing again. Green flag is in the air. We are racing in Nazareth. First couple laps in the books here at Nazareth, and the pace already frantic. There's Porter-Kelly in the Sunoco number 10, holding up Nicole Lechty. There's Velisevich in the Coca-Cola number 13, trying to make some inroads as well. There's Catherine Hart in the 31, the Rebellion number 31. As Lechty drops back, the outside lane not great. Passes will be made because drivers will drive in too deep, just like this right here. Kenosha trying to stay right there on that white line and the curving in the corners. But with how flat this track is and the speed that they want to carry, sometimes you drift out a little bit wider and it opens the door for the cars behind. And when you lose a position, you lose multiple here. Kenosha up to third. Jones in fourth. Kenosha sitting behind her teammate, Sakura Ishibashi. Both of them going for a championship, but Wyatt Jones looking for something a little bit more personal. His first win in Champ Car competition, coming off of a podium at Portland. So far leading this race. Rogers gets around Kenosha, and you see how vulnerable Kenosha is to Kozlov. Kozlov trying to put themselves back into title contention here. At the very least, Rookie of the Year contention. Velisevich has pulled away with that a little bit over the last few races. There is Kurachenko, now ahead of her former mentor and 3-time world champion Porter-Kelly. Porter-Kelly in that yellow and blue Sunoco machine, knocking the rust off before she comes back to full-time competition in 2024. Then there's Velisevich. Then there is Catherine Hart. See Porter-Kelly trying to telegraph that move in. Will get the move done. And now Kurachenko set to lose several spots here. There's Catherine Hart looking to make it 3 wide potentially. Velisevich stays ahead. And you see where Kurachenko's struggling now because she's not able to generate that momentum anymore. And there's Glover looking to the inside as well, clipping a little bit of the grass to try to make some inroads here. Glover in 11th will take the 10th spot away now from Kurachenko. Kurachenko out of the top 10 now. And there's Kurachenko's other teammate, one of 4 Strucker cars. Michelin also in this group as well, just behind this, making moves there on Bianca Lucero, a throwback to Zoe Sharp's days. But Michelin making inroads as well, as Lechty begins her climb back forward. Catherine Hart attacking. The 13 of Velisevich. Porter-Kelly clear of all of it so far, trying to catch up to the defending world champion Kinoshita. Top three close together here. Jones holding the pace over Ishibashi and Rogers. Racing in force here at Nazareth Speedway. How fun it is to be back here at Nazareth. The speeds are blistering, 13 laps in already. Back of the field, there's Yuya Ishii and Rex Riley. Have some cars further down the order here. Looking through it, you see there's two NOS Energy cars for the title sponsor of today's race. That car you're looking at right there, the black, blue, and orange, that is Julia Takani. There's another one that is Alicia Kovalkiewicz. Kovalkiewicz closer to the front of the field. There's Petrovic, the only Vonter racing car in the field ahead of Nero Takarasi, who had that spin in qualifying. Takarasi's made inroads, but so has Andrew Draco, who's already made it up from 33rd, which is where he was at the start. He is now in the 26th position, trying to take on Mia Vitsut, the Estonian driver for Cat Double Racing. Vitsut trying to take on Cameron Jackson. Jackson just ahead there in 24th. And here comes the two-time champion. Draco gets around. Can Asada Kita go around as well? That black and blue Konica Minolta car. Looks like it should be pretty easy and straightforward there. Ahead of Jackson, further up the road, is Astrid Crane. Simona Leroux has dropped places. Then you have Katrina Ochoa for a Scuderia Ghia. Shinichi Kamaya there in the 8. Kamaya right now sitting in position number 20. Then there's Kira Moore, the Canadian rookie. Right behind the two-time Atlantic champion, Bianca Lucero. There's Keisha Fox behind Esther Hofson. And Kurachenko struggling, has been passed out by Michelin and by Kovalkiewicz. There's Kovalkiewicz in the 96. And Kovalkiewicz will get around Michelin as well. Two Alpine teams going in different directions next year. Cherokee GP being rebranded to Arrowhead Racing will go to Toyota. While Striker Motorsports with Michelin, Alexander, and Porto-Cali behind the wheel of its three cars in the World Series, and Kurachenko and Katerina Milinkovic in the Challenger Series, they'll move to Chevrolet again. There's Lechty entering this race as the points leader, but just over by 4 points. Not where she wants to be. Lechty right now in 12th. Here goes the pass for the race lead. Ishibashi going for the points. And gets it. And Jones now under threat from Rogers as well. The only really good saving grace here is that Kozlov is not really that close, so Wyatt Jones can close back in here and resettle. And that's exactly what he'll do. So Ishibashi takes the lead away after 21 laps. But Wyatt Jones able to lead some laps here at Nazareth to kick things off. Ishibashi now going to be under threat from Thomas Rogers. Nazareth. Being an absolute chore to watch so far. Watching this battle for the race lead. Whoa, trouble, trouble, trouble. That is an engine blown for Von Sonnen. So Von Sonnen's day is going to come to an early end. First retirement of the race will be Von Sonnen out. Catherine Hart came down pit lane for unscheduled service. So she is a lap down. We're seeing some cars here begin to be under threat to go a lap down again. It's checked out the top four with lap traffic now in the way. Ishii now next one up to go a lap down potentially here. They all got around Takarasi with very minimal fuss there. But the longer it takes for them, the quicker it is for Kenosha to catch up and be back in the fight here. Ishibashi trying to get around Ishii, and away we go. Ishii out of the way now. Rex Riley next up to go a lap down here in Nazareth as Ishibashi continues to lead over Rogers. There's Wyatt Jones in third still. Kozlov still stuck behind Ishii. Kenosha and Porter Kelly get right back up to Kozlov here. Jones a little bit further away. And you see the lap traffic beginning to thicken here in front of Rogers, who's gotten ahead of Ishibashi, as Ishibashi was stalled out behind the traffic. Rogers leading the way, getting through some of the lap traffic here. Petrovich next one to go a lap down. There is Ishibashi. Next up on the list here. Let's get around Petrovic. Lap traffic going to be very important to manage today. And Ishibashi she's struggling with it just a little bit. Could put her under threat from Wyatt Jones too. Still under threat here. And Kozlov just finally got around Rex Riley as there comes 3 of the 4 horsewomen right there. Kenosha, Porter Kelly, and Porter all close together again. It's been a while since we've seen this one. Porter Kelly and Porter, sisters there, fighting it out the 10 and the 81. And there's Catherine Hart. Whoa! Almost contact there. Porter Kelly trying to close in the gap, but Hart forcing her way through the door. As Kenosha works her way through now around Riley, and hopefully leading the line to also get around. Around Rex Riley there, looking further through the field. There's Kozlov making easy work of Petrovic there. As Rogers sees more cars up ahead, that is Kamaya and Lucero, the next ones to go a lap down. Jones holding on to the 3rd position at the moment. Really just kind of staying in there and hanging touch with Ishibashi. This race has been caution-free. 1 retirement for an engine failure. Von Sonnen out. 27 cars on the lead lap right now with Kamaya. Next one to go on the lap down list. There's Rogers right now on the gearbox of Kamaya. And Rogers had to check up. Could not make anything happen there. That's going to slow him down and allow Ishibashi and Jones to come back to it. And you see this group here right in the mix. Catherine Hart going after Porter. Eva Porter can't really fight that one too awful hard. We'll give it up there through turn 1. And Hart moving quickly, trying to get to Kenosha now. And gets by Kenosha pretty easily, and Kenosha now vulnerable to Porter and Porter Kelly. And suddenly everyone's got a chance to fight for something here. Porter 8th in the points. Needs a really good result here to have a chance in the final 3 races. Jones is down around Lucero and Kamaya, working on the 86 of Asada Quito now. And the traffic game is huge right now. Managing that traffic, managing the dirty air. Rogers being slowed down a little bit. It's allowing them to catch up, but it's almost like a false test there. And Ishibashi actually decides to come down pit lane. First taker in this green flag stint. Ishibashi comes in, It's a very slow 45 miles an hour. There's Electi trying to get around Ishii. A little further down the order there is Kovalkiewicz, there's Glover and Alexander. Electi up to 8th as more and more cars come in, including Electi and Glover. Rogers came in. So that will make it made Wyatt Jones a leader for a lap. Now Catherine Hart will lead a lap here. Excuse me, Catherine Hart is not leading a lap here. Catherine Hart's not been bound for position at all. She's been down in 32nd position all this time. Obviously had to make an early pit stop for a cut tire. That's why she made an early pit stop. Had contact with another driver, had a cut tire, had to come down pit lane the hard way. Whoa, contact there on pit lane between Hofstad and Michelin. Michelin coming down to his box. Hofstad coming out of pit lane. So a little bit of contact there. Wyatt Jones doing service there per normal. You see just how busy pit lane is here at Nazareth. It's fantastic to see. A very busy pit lane. Kurachenko comes out ahead of Keisha Fox. It's Alexander leaving pit lane as well. The warm-up lanes right there in full song. Just browsing and perusing through this field. There's Porter Kelly and Kenosha, all trying to follow Catherine Hart around. That is Katrina Ochoa. And then there's the 13 of Natalia Velicevic in this window as well. There's Porter, who recently came up at lane, led a couple laps as well. A lot of lead changes so far. A lot of lead changes, no cautions. 61 laps in. Thomas Rogers has re-inherited the race lead over Ishibashi. As Matthias Michelin goes a lap down, so did Mia Vitsu and Cameron Jackson. A lot of cars going a lap down under that pit stop sequence. There's also Julia Takani and Shinichi Kamaya. Wyatt Jones now stuck now in the 3rd position behind Bianca Lucero. Lucero in this fight, pulling away from Jones a little bit. It's Jones, then Kozlov, then Porter in 5th. Then a little bit further back, you have this group with Catherine Hart, Kini Kenosha, Natalia Felicevic, and Stephanie Porter Kelly. Petrovic holding up Nicole Lechty. But a wild race so far. Blistering pace. Fastest lap is a 20.309 by Porter Kelly. That is a 169 mile an hour average speed for this track. Not quite the record-breaking pace compared to what we saw back in 1998 when the lap record was set here. But for the first time being here at Nazareth and everyone's still dialing this track in, still really quick speeds. As Kenosha forcing her way around Catherine Hart. And she was the only one that was able to get through. Very important there in that fight. Kenosha in the 7th position. Catherine Hart now in that position fight. Again, Hart's off sequence here. Had to make an early pit stop there, so she's going to be permanently off sequence. She'll have a pit stop here coming up soon. But this is a battle for position right now. So some important fights going on. Obviously, Kenosha knows that the quicker she can get around Hart, the quicker she can get clear of Catherine Hart. The 31 crew just making the most out of the situation here as Wyatt Jones still struggling with Lucero. We'll get around Lucero now, as will Porter, who's gotten around Kozlov. So top 5 finally making work of the 88. But this held them up big time as we look further through the field. There's Ishibashi in the 17 and Thomas Rogers, who has been winless all season long. Still looking for his first win. Taking on Andrew Draco now. Draco sitting in 20th after starting this race in 33rd, dead last. He's made up 13 spots already in this race. Trying to pick up more cars. There's 3 more in front of him, but Rogers wants to get to them first. That is Crane, Hobson, and Keisha Fox just ahead. Action all over the place here at the track, going wide camera. You get a better idea of the speed of these cars as they roar around. NOS trying to get around Takarasi there. Still struggling with that 57. Looks like a chance to make a move here. And will do so. And there goes Vitsu, the 15, to do the exact same thing into turn 1. As Michelin got around Jackson. Porter's gotten around Wyatt Jones, as did Kozlov there. So Jones now down to 5th. This race changing complexion dramatically. Five drivers have led a lap so far today. Rogers with 33, the most so far. Ishibashi with 17, Porter with 2, Jones with 21, and Juliet Takani led 1 lap under that pit stop sequence. Kozlov got around Porter with ease. And the cautions come out. Caution has come out. And it's for Wyatt Jones. Wyatt Jones in trouble. Caution for the first time for Wyatt Jones. Oh, and he just lost power. He has just lost power. Lost it on the front straightaway. Trying to stay out of the way, but couldn't really make it all the way back around. Had to park it in the grass. See how dangerous that can be. So Wyatt Jones in trouble, and what was going to be a promising day for him has turned into a nightmare scenario. Caution up for the first time for Wyatt Jones, losing power on the front straightaway. Pit stops for the race leaders here. Obviously all the lap down cars staying out. They will pit next lap. And how disappointing for Wyatt Jones here. Porter Kelly coming in. There's Kovacevic coming in as well. Ishibashi beats Rogers out, and comfortably so. There's Kozlov. There's Porter. Kenosha falls behind Velicevic. Porter Kelly stays ahead of Lecty, barely. Oh, in trouble, Catherine Hart. That is a blown engine for Catherine Hart. Huge problem there for the 31. Leaving pit lane. and will come right back down pit lane with a significant problem. And that looks terminal. Wyatt Jones, they can try to refire. And it looks like they may have. We'll see if he's coming back out. There he is. Wyatt Jones is back out on track. But 2 laps down. And he's going to come right back down. See if something's okay, or see if something's still wrong with that car. But he's back down pit lane. Lights out on the Chevy Camaro's VL1 pace car. Another engine failure for Catherine Hart. 2 cars out of this race, with Hart joining another Honda engine in Von Sonnen. Ishibashi leads over Rogers and Kozlov as they go back to green. Green flag in the air. We're racing once again from our first caution of the day. And away we go. Ishibashi trying to chase down Thomas Rogers. Rogers in second, trying to chase down Ishibashi. Kozlov in a very close third. Another car in pit lane. That is Petrovic still in pit lane. Top 5 close together. Porter Kelly in 6th. As they lead the way, it is pandemonium a little further back in the order. And you see it. Everyone trying to make moves. Petrovic coming out of pit lane now. And Jones now with the unenviable task, having top 5 pace, stuck at the back of the field, 2 laps down. Only driver with the more laps, the same amount of laps down is Takarasi, who's just ahead of him. Petrovic 3 laps down, further away from the fight. A lot of the group that he's in right now, 1 lap down. So that's got to be heartbreaking. There is Ishibashi trying to defend from Thomas Rogers. Rogers put his nose in there in turn 1, couldn't make it stick though. So Ishibashi able to defend through turn 2. But Rogers is on it right now early on. Rogers just trying to force Ishibashi into a mistake. Had one, but the wrong part of the track. Rogers has got to make something happen either in turn 2 or turn 3. It could be setting up for a very cool final couple laps here. Going into turn 2 now, and that's the move he wanted to make before. He's got it now. Ishibashi trying to defend, unable to do so. Kozlov now looking to the inside. First time we've seen these two fight in a little bit. But here they go. And Ishibashi beginning to slide. It's beginning to be a little bit of a mudslide there for Ishibashi from 1st to 4th. And there's still some positions to lose here. There's Velicevic and there's Porter Kelly. Porticelli, there's Lechty. Lechty in this fight. That's a crucial fight here. And Ishibashi just stuck on the outside lane. This is a flat oval. You can't carry the same speed the further outside the racetrack you go. It's not progressively banked like some tracks are. So the further away you get from the racing line, the worse it gets for you. And for Ishibashi, from the lead of this race now to 10th. That's where Alexander was. That's where Ishibashi is now. And there's Natalia Kurichenko trying to take 10th away, and will do so. Ishibashi has just been landslid. Rogers leads the way over his Panasonic Team Impulse teammate, Adem Kozlov. They're in second, ahead of Porter, ahead of Velicevic. It is Team Impulse, then Atomic Autosport in the top 4, and then Stryker in 5th. Highlight Racing in 6th. Then there's Kovalkiewicz for Arrowhead Racing for Cherokee GP. Sitting in 7th ahead of Kenosha. More Stryker cars there, 9th and 10th. I believe that's Kira Moore in 11th. Ishibashi has slid down dramatically, still unable to recover. A nightmare scenario for Ishibashi. Well, Jen's slowly making his way through. But again, it's a bit of what for at this point. Jones from the lead of this race in the top 5, now sitting in 29th. As Rogers leads over Kozlov. Kozlov looking at the mirror and seeing Evangeline Porter there in 3rd. Rogers trying to take off with this one and really try to cement himself as a contender with the race win. He's really the only major player in the top 6 that does not have a race win. Actually, he's the only one in the top 7 that doesn't have a race win. Kovalkiewicz has 2, Kozlov has 1, Velicevic has 1, Ishibashi has 3, Kenosha has 6, Lechty has 2. Outside of Rogers, it's Porter that doesn't have a race win. Porter sitting in 8th right now. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as Rogers pulls away. We're going to need to see more lap traffic here. There is Lechty right behind Porticelli, ahead of Kovalkiewicz and Kenosha. There's Alexander. There is Kurichenko. And then you have Kira Moore in the 11th position ahead of Asher Crane, Simona Leroux. Then you have BK Glover behind. That is Simona Leroux there. And Glover. Then you have Andrew Draco, who's still on the lap. As well as Keisha Fox further down the order. And Sakura Ishibashi. That's where Sakura ended up. Right there with Wyatt Jones. And Jones is faster. So you want to talk about just making insult to injury there. There you go. Ochoa, the last car 1 lap down, sitting in 28th. Thomas Rogers leads the way. Kozlov still under pressure from Porter. Porter beginning to pull away from her teammate Velicevic here. We're over 100 laps into this race, almost to the halfway point, halfway being the end of lap 112. This is where the physicality becomes very apparent. as we have a pass position attempted here between Porter Kelly and Lechty, and Lechty couldn't stick it. So Porter Kelly stays firmly in 5th. See, this is also important. Lechty's in 6th right now. Rogers leading the way. Rogers is 33 points behind Lechty at this point in time. Rogers scoring right now. He's got the most laps led point. He's got a little lap led point. Isn't at pole position. So he's got 53 points in hand right now if the race ended right now. Lechty's got 28. So that closes that gap up tremendously. But Rogers is the only one that's closing right now. Rogers closes, Kozlov closes, but Kozlov needs a lot more to close. Porter closing in, but needs a lot more to close. Velisevich closes in by 4. Lechty stays ahead of Kovalkiewicz, stays ahead of Kenosha right now. Rogers will put himself right firmly in the conversation here with 3 races to go, going into Denver next week. As you see on your screen, Velisevich trying to make inroads here after losing several positions. Kenosha also lost positions there. Porter Kelly trying to close in on Porter. Sisters there. Kelly in that fight right now with Kozlov, trying to work through lap traffic. Thomas Rogers already caught up to Takarasi to put Takarasi another lap down. That'd be 3 laps down for Takarasi at this point. Takarasi just kind of struggling at the moment. Rogers still being held up here. And you see the traffic that Kozlov and Porter Kelly still have to deal with. Oh, engine trouble. There's Kamaya, another Honda. Another Honda, Camyron, in trouble. He'll make it to pit lane safely. That's the third Honda out of this race. Talk about physicality. It's physical on the drivers and the engines. Running full song for this long. The G-forces are no laughing matter. Rogers got around Takarasi, now has some clean space for a couple laps here before coming up on Bianca Lucero. Fast lap of the race belongs to Sakura Ishibashi now. A 20.301, 169.522 miles an hour. The average lap speed here. Porter got around Kozlov. Letty trying to do the same as Porter-Kelly's already done. But now Porter with the task of trying to get around the lap traffic of Petrovic and Riley. As the fight continues. Coming to 100 laps to go. Rogers gets around Lucero with little fuss. It's now 5 cars between Porter and the race leader. Letty getting around Porter-Kelly here. Letty on the charge. 78, the Iron Maiden. Up to P3. Letty getting around Porter as well. That's Letty up to P2. Talk about minimizing the damage, but there goes Porter-Kelly for second. Porter-Kelly returned the favor en masse, and now Letty's about to shuffle backwards here. Because there's Porter, and there is the 3 of Kozlov. Wow. Letty hold on, though. Somehow, Letty held on. There is Kovalkiewicz to the top 5. And Kozlov begins the skid backwards. There is Velicevic and Kurichenko. They started in row 5 together, and they're still together. There's Kenosha as well, the 18, and Alexander in the 11. Then you have Crane, Moore. There's Vitsu's a lap down. So very interesting here. Rogers about to catch up to a very critical group at this stage of the race. Porter-Kelly now being tasked with taking on some of the lap traffic. Oh, ran wide. There is Letty. Letty with the attempt to pass. For second, once again. And she's got it. Forced Porter Kelly wide. And you hear the rumble strips. We've not heard that noise very often from the cameras we have positioned here. But you heard the rumble strips there as they hit them. You hear that more and more as this race goes on. They use every inch of the racetrack. There it goes. Kovalevich, who grabbed the grass after almost being hip checked by Porter. Thankfully, a significant part of the grass here at Nazareth as part of the reconstruction is AstroTurf. Porter watching as Lechty and Kovalevich get around Petrovich finally. But the damage has been done. 8.3 seconds for Rogers ahead of this crowd. Alexander in pit lane. I think Rogers came down pit lane early as well to avoid that traffic. Lechty making moves. A lot of drivers in pit lane now. Yeah, there's Rogers leaving pit lane now. There's the two. As other cars come in. A lot of the field coming in here. Lechty gets around. I believe that was Kovalevich at first. It is Kovalevich. So Lechty leading laps now. Grabbing some bonus points while possible. See where everyone cycles out here, but a very busy pit lane. Porter Kelly stays out, as does Porter. That's your top three at the moment in this pit stop sequence. And they're going to come in. There's Rogers. He'll unlap himself here pretty quickly. Everyone cycling through here. More cars leading pit lane. That is Velisevich leading pit lane. There's Kenosha leading pit lane as well. And now Rogers being held up by, that is Ochoa and Michelin. Ochoa will get out of the way here. Ochoa already not on the lead lap. Michelin still is. And some other cars come out of pit lane there. That is Quito and the 28 of Hobson. Whoa, a little bit of a checkup there. 3 wide situation with Leroux and Petrovich. And that checks up Rogers big time. He is in the storm. There's Lechty trying to get around now Takarasi. As Lechty getting around Takarasi there through turn 2. Coming down pit lane. That is Petrovich coming down pit lane this time. They're all trouble, more trouble. That is Hobson. That is Hobson in the same place that Wyatt Jones had an electrical issue. There's Hobson, and we are going to have a caution. That is going to be a yellow. That is on the racing surface. Hobson can't go anywhere. Everyone look out. Caution comes out for the second time today. And that eliminates the lead that Thomas Rogers had. Did Rogers lap Kozlov? He did. Wow. Rogers put Artyom Kozlov 1 lap down. That's going to be painful. As they catch up to the pace car here, who comes down pit lane for service. Seems like not really anybody. Hobson with a mechanical issue, second caution of the day here in Nazareth. And that'll throw Hobson right down the order here, if Hobson's able to continue at all. Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 pace car leading the field right now. And you see all the cars between Rogers and the 81 of Lecty. And then it gets even harder, because then you see the cars between Lecty, and then you see, I believe that's Alexander in third. It is Alexander in third. Then Kovalkiewicz there in fourth. Portichelli fifth. This came right after the green flag pit stop cycle. And it was Hobson that had a mechanical issue. That is another Honda with a mechanical issue. We've had one Chevrolet with Wyatt Jones, but then we have had 4 Hondas with issues so far. 3 cars out of this race: Kamaya, Hart, and Von Sonen, all of them out with engine issues. Catherine Hart's issue was an oil leak in that 31 car. And a lot of lap down cars staying out as well. This is really a blessing in disguise for Rogers. The field closes up a little bit, but Rogers is going to have clean air now. He's going to have nothing but clean air. Huge chance for Rogers now to really open up the gap again, because Lecty's got to get around a bunch of traffic. Because they've been battling each other too. It's 9 cars between Rogers and Lecty here. Lights go out on the Chevy Camaro ZL1 pace car. 79 laps to go. Sorry, 78 laps to go now. It is Rogers ahead of Kozlov, who's the first car a lap down in the 17th, or in the 16th position. 15 cars on the lead lap down to Simona Leroux. Here the revs pick up there on those Champ Car machines as the racing continues. Green flag back in the air, and away we go. Here we go. Back in mass. There is obviously Rogers leading the way. You see where Lecty's at, though, and the work that's ahead of her. She's going to make a little bit of inroads there. Gets to Glover. And you see 3 wide. Look at that. There's Kira Moore. Where did she come from? Moore in the mix. Intermingling with the striker cars. 3 of them right there. The 11, the 10, the 16, and the 84. All in that picture. 3 of those 4 striker cars on the lead lap, too. There is Kovalkiewicz right now sitting in the 3rd position. Portichelli and Kira Moore want to chase down Kovalkiewicz and Lecty here. Lecty slicing and dicing through some of the lap traffic here. Next up on the list for Lecty is Bianca Lucero. The San Marinese driver holding up Lechty here. Lechty getting as close as possible to that diffuser. Lechty looks to the inside here in turn 1. Into turn 2, Lechty gets cleared. There's Kovalkiewicz there in 3rd. And Kovalkiewicz has a really good shot through 3. And gets through. Porter Kelly stuck behind Takarasi and ahead of Kira Moore. Teammates there surrounding Porter Kelly. Frostfire Racing in the 57 and 67. Rogers has gotten clear, but only 5 cars really in the mix. There's Kozlov, who is on the pace with Rogers there. See Wyatt Jones stuck there. 3 laps down. That's how heartbreaking it is right now for Wyatt Jones. Lechty's caught up to Michelin here. Gotta be patient, gotta be collected. Still some time left in this race. Still at least one set of green flag pit stops left in this race. Lechty able to slice and dice through the field as it comes to her. Kovalkiewicz trying to get around Michelin there just behind. See, there's Figuchera, there's Porter Kelly. Then there's Kira Moore ahead of Kurachenko. Cranes made her way into the top 6, I do believe, sorry, 7th, ahead of Velisevich. And you have Alexander still stuck with traffic here. Same with, that is Porter, that is Kinoshita there. Ishibashi's back in the mix. Ishibashi in 12th right now. LaRoe, then Fox, then Draco. Last car on the lead lap as things run. Sort of rousing and bruising. There's Draco right now. And he's really the last car you'll see until you get to Rogers again. Lechty got around. That is the 69 at Takani. Now trying to get around Wyatt Jones. Jones not going to make it easy. Lechty knows that. Working their way through turn 2, now towards turn number 3. Misidentified that car before. That is Kovalkiewicz there. As Lechty puts the nose in on Jones and will make her way through. There it goes. Kovalkiewicz as well into turn 1. Kovalkiewicz couldn't make that clean as of a pass on Jones. We'll have to wait until turn 3 to make it happen again. There's Rogers. Lechty will still gain time with that caution obviously coming out. It was a 9-second gap. Now it's 3 seconds, so it's cut down by a third. Or 2/3, excuse me. But still needing to make some inroads here on some of the traffic. Cameron Jackson and Artyom Kozlov up next for Lechty. There's Kovalkiewicz in 3rd. They've isolated themselves from Porter Kelly and the company. And here comes the 78 of Lechty around Cameron Jackson. And Kovacevic gets around as well. Now you've got Jackson dealing with the side of Quito. That is for position, those two. And Quito will take that position as well. One car left for Letty to take on, and that is Kozlov. Rogers will lead half of the race here if things continue as they are. Gap closing a little bit. 2.9 now is the gap. Now that Letty has some clean air to work with, that gap about to shrink dramatically. 30 cars still running here in Nazareth. As we press on. Letty caught up to Kozlov there. Kovacevic a little further behind. Took a little bit longer to get through some of the lap traffic. There's Porticelli in fourth. And then Kira Moore still dealing with Bianca Lucero. But ahead of Natalia Kurachenko and Natalia Vulosevic there. Riders coming there on Rex Riley, who's now the next car to go a lap down again. Riley already 2 laps down, about to go 3. Letty on Kozlov here. 3 seconds, still the gap. It's stabilized at the moment at 3 seconds. Kozlov trying to play good teammate here and hold up Letty. And Letty's going to look through the door anyway. Really good opportunity there through turn 2. And there's Kovacevic now in the mix again as well. Time is of the essence here. Got to make that pass happen. The inside there again of Kozlov just holding up the group. Teamwork at play. And Kozlov will be difficult to pass. Letty's got to set it up well. Ideally, you got to set up a pass in 3. Yeah, it's opened up a little bit. So as low as about 2.8 seconds. It's expanded a little bit more now. .7 the gap. Kovacevic trying to reset some things. Rogers beginning to open the gap up now, almost 4 seconds now. Rogers got around Riley. Now has to deal with Yuya Ishii. Got around Draco as well. Put Draco a lap down officially. Yuya Ishii in 24th, or 2 laps down as well, about to go 3 down. Then you have Keisha Fox, next car to go 1 lap down. Last car on lead lap right now, and then there's Simona Leroux. Not far ahead, there's Kenosha. He's still struggling to get around Kozlov. Kozlov's pace has slowed too. There's Wyatt Jones, who's got some important business to take care of as well, because Ishii about to go 3 laps down. Riley is 3 laps down, and that's right in front of this group right here. That's 72. So Jones still trying to gather some positions here as this race goes along. Kozlov makes a pass there to put Riley in the rearview mirror. Kovacevic pins Jones behind Riley. These two on track once again together. And Riley gets passed by Jones. There is Rogers taking on Keisha Fox. Put Fox a lap down. Rogers just kind of being patient here because there's 3 cars in this group he's got to deal with. Because there's Leroux as well as 57 again at Takarasi. And Rogers comes down pit lane. There you go, pit stops here. Draco in as well. Letty stays out. And Kozlov comes in. So Letty's got some clean air here. Now lap 195, here come the leaders in once again. That's going to put Asher Crane. Crane already came down pit lane, so Crane's not in this fight. You can see the busy pit lane once again. There's Rogers back out on pit lane, back out on track already. And caution's out. Hold on, caution's out, I believe. Yeah, caution is out. That's big. That changes things, and that's why Glover in trouble. Ishibashi coming down pit lane as well. What happened to VK Glover here under caution for the third time in the day with less than 30 laps to go? Was this a pit lane issue? This is Rogers coming down pit lane. We'll see if they can fast forward here. 4-tire service. Side by side with Kira Moore. Oh, and that is trouble. Both of them neither just wanting to give space. And both of them paying for it. And that is Glover out of this race. That changes a lot. Because guess who that puts together? Rogers, Lechty, and Kovacevic. Kira Moore out of this race as well. Again, third caution of the race with 27 laps to go. $28 laps to go right now, coming to 27 to go. Yeah, several cars that were pinned behind the safety car. They are not the race leader. The race leader is Thomas Rogers. Then you have Nicole Lechty, Alicia Kovacevic, Natalia Kurachenko, and Stephanie Porter-Kelly at the top 5. Elizabeth Porter, Kinoshita, and Ishibashi, your top 9. Keisha Fox in 10th. Then Alexander and Crane, the top 12 there. Now 5 cars out of this race with Glover and Moore both out. Things still have a chance to turn on their heads in these last 27 laps. Lights out on the Chevy Camaro ZL1 pace car. Pace car pulls into the warm-up lane, into pit lane. Keisha Fox controls the restart. Thomas Rogers, the race leader. Green flag in the air, and away we go. And now Rogers under threat. Under threat and immediately under fire. There's Lechty in the 81. Not in the 81, the 78. Porter in the 81. Lechty used to be in the 81 car, but now in the 78 and getting past and being freight trained. There went Kovacevic. There went Takarasi. There's Kozlov. A lot of lap traffic here. Ishii leaving pit lane now. But Rogers from first to third with lap traffic now to deal with once more. They scrambled on Rogers to put him out of the operation. And there they go around. That is the 77 of LaRoe. You want to talk about on a mission, Lechty on it. And Kovacevic staying in range as well. And this is a race that was must win for Kovacevic, especially with where Lechty is right now. Kovacevic still loses 10 points there on Lechty as things stand. And that's a hard gap to make up in 3 races. Takarasi holding up Kozlov, holding up Rogers. And Rogers realizes it's go time now. He went from being in a catbird seat to now being down by over a race. It's a big ordeal. That's how much that swing meant. And that's why it was so important for Lecty to get ahead of Rogers, to solidify that Rogers had to make up more ground in the next 3 races, because the next 3 races will not be easy. Denver, Night City, and Fontana. 21 laps to go. When they get back to the start-finish line. 21 to go now. Here we go. Fight going on. Rogers back in the fray. Everything coming to fruition here. Porter getting around, that is, I think, 72 of Riley. Rogers back ahead of Kovalkiewicz. So Rogers going to try to fight back here. We're on lap 210 now. 16 laps to go. Two cars in this fight. And a lot of clean air in these last 15 laps. Rogers has to make magic happen the hard way. Three races remain after today. 14 laps to go, coming to 13 to go. The fight wears on here. And Rogers may have one good shot at getting back around Lecty here in these last 13 laps. Rogers needs to set the tone. As they fight, they get close to each other here. The Kovalkiewicz not out of reach either. Those top three close together. First, Alexander and Fox both pinned a lap down. You're looking at Porter now, who's sitting in 4th. Then Kurachenko top 5, Porter Kelly in 6th on her return to the series. Then you look at Kenosha, who's been passed by Velicevic and by Ishibashi. So that puts Kenosha down to 9th. That's about as far as Kenosha can fall without having something happen here in these last few laps here. 10 laps to go. Coming to 9. All eyes on if Rogers can really catch up to Nicole Lecty and go after that race lead. He led 139 laps in this race. Got the bonus points for most laps, led over half this race. Lost it on that last restart. Still sitting winless in 2023. He's got a long winless drought of his own. Here we go. Coming to lap 219. Ticker running a little bit behind here. Seven laps to go. Rogers getting closer. Ever so much closer. Six to go. They gapped that last time. Under 4/10. 5 to go. 5 laps to go. Coming to 4 to go. Seems like the gap stabilized here around 4/10. Rogers needing the traffic that's not going to be there. Coming to 3 laps to go. He's got to put on one incredible charge. It just seems so difficult to do here. This is what Letty was working towards. With these 3 laps to go. Wanted to put another race win up on the board and solidify a championship lead with 2 laps to go. She'll do just that if she can hold on, but Rogers surging forward, surging closer. Can Rogers be the great denier? They're coming to the white flag lap. 1 lap to go. Rogers got one chance if he's going to do it. It's going to be in 3. Through 2 now. Is he close enough? I don't think he is. Letty's got to anchor it home. Out of 3 for the final time. Letty wins at Nazareth. Rogers a close second. Third place for Kovalkiewicz. Evangeline Porter brings it on 4th. Natalia Kurachenko a top 5. On return, Stephanie Porter-Kelly finishes in 6th ahead of Sakura Ishibashi. Natalia Vulicevic in 8th. Kuni Kinoshita, the defending world champion, in 9th. As Letty once again and firmly grabs control of the championship lead. Ticker's going to be scrolling at the top of your board. Elise Alexander finishing up the top 10 there. 1 lap down, the first car lap down. Simona Leroux, Artyom Kozlov, Asher Crane, and Keisha Fox, the top 14. 15th place belongs to Mia Vitsut. Julia Takani in 16th over Cameron Jackson, Mateus Michelin, Asada Kito, and Wyatt Jones, your top 20. Bianca Lucero in 21st ahead of Rex Riley. Nara Takarasi in 23rd. Esther Hofston in 24th, Andrew Draco 25th. After starting this race dead last, got his way all the way up to 15th, but pit stop sequence did not treat him well, down in 25th at the end of his race. Katrina Ochoa in 26th, Yuya Ishii in 27th, 28th. The last car running, Marcus Petrovic there, 5 laps down. 5 retirements in this race, 1 accident. That was Kira Moore and BK Glover, the last caution of this race. Shinichi Kamaya, Catherine Hart, and Anastasius von Sonnen with engine failures, all for Honda there, as Honda had to have a very worrying conversation there with its teams during that race. But it's Nicole Letty over Thomas Rogers and Alicia Kovalkiewicz here in Nazareth. 3 races to go, and they are quick in terms of how quickly they arrive here. Next week, we go back over to the West Coast. We'll stop at Denver Motorsports Park. Last road course race of the season. And then 2 ovals, a short oval at Aaron Knight City at Arasaka Arena. And then Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California ends out the season. Nazareth put on a show today. 33 cars, absolutely outstanding. We're glad we could have everyone here as a part of it. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Sports, for the AT&T Champ Car World Series and the IndyCar World Championship, we appreciate you spending your time with us here tonight. We'll see you next week in Denver. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun in the week ahead. We'll see you in Colorado.